They taught you emotions were soft, that tears meant weakness, that empathy was a crack in your armor. But what they didn't teach you, what they feared you might discover, is that emotional intelligence is a weapon, a blade forged not from steel, but from awareness, control, and the precision of your inner world. Those who master it don't cry in defeat, they command in silence. They don't beg for understanding, they see through people like glass. Because once you grasp the mechanics of your own emotions, you begin to see the strings that control others. And when you see the strings, you pull them. Welcome to the war of perception. The battlefield is invisible. The soldiers wear smiles, and the deadliest ones never raise their voice. They simply understand what drives you, and they use it. Most people walk through life reactive. A pin dropped the wrong way triggers them. An insult derails their day. They think emotions happen to them, not through them. That's the trap. That's where they lose. Because if you don't control your emotional state, someone else will. And believe me, someone already does. Whether it's the media, your boss, your past, or your fear of not being enough, something is pulling your strings while you pretend you're in control. Emotional intelligence isn't about being soft. It's about being dangerously aware, knowing your triggers, naming your emotions, understanding your internal patterns so well that no one else can hijack them. That's power, real, silent, psychological dominance, the kind that changes the temperature of a room when you walk in, the kind that doesn't flinch when chaos erupts because you've already mastered your inner storm. The emotionally intelligent don't run from pain, they interrogate it. They sit with their fear not to befriend it, but to break it down, analyze its roots, and strip it of its power. They don't lash out when provoked. They pause, observe, and respond with impact, not impulse. That's what makes them lethal. Not louder, but sharper. Not colder, but calculated. They see beyond the mask people wear. They hear the words people don't say. Because when you understand emotional nuance, you realize that control isn't in overpowering others. It's in understanding them better than they understand themselves. And in that understanding, you gain leverage, you gain influence, you gain the upper hand in a world addicted to emotional chaos. But here's the twist. Emotional intelligence begins with you. If you can't name the emotion you're feeling, you can't control it. If you can't pause and examine the root of your anger, your sadness, your frustration, you are owned by it, and the world sees it. People don't follow the loudest person in the room. They follow the most emotionally grounded, the one who doesn't panic, the one who can articulate tension without escalating it, the one who holds their frame while others collapse. Because in that composure, there is danger, there is mystery, there is control. And in this game, control is everything. You want to win in life? You want people to respect you, follow you, fear disappointing you? Then learn the emotional patterns running their lives. Learn what makes them tick, what makes them insecure, what makes them seek approval, and then master those very patterns in yourself. When you no longer react from insecurity, you become immune to manipulation. When you no longer need validation, you become untouchable. People chase approval because they lack self-awareness. They fear rejection because they haven't built emotional resilience. You'll move differently. You'll speak less but say more. You'll understand not just the game, but the players. Once you master your emotional core, the world becomes predictable. You start seeing behind the curtain. Every angry outburst, every fake smile, every overreaction, it all becomes data, patterns, signals. You stop reacting and start calculating. Emotional intelligence turns you into a strategist, because now you're not just feeling, you're reading the battlefield in real time. When someone's voice rises, you sense the insecurity behind it. When someone goes silent, you catch the tension they're trying to bury. Most people live in emotional blindness, but not you. You've trained your awareness to the point where silence screams, posture speaks, and hesitation betrays more than words ever could. You read people like books, while keeping your own pages blank. The truly powerful don't manipulate through force. They maneuver through perception. They say little but listen obsessively. They mirror emotions, adapt to the room, and lead people where they want them to go without ever showing the leash. And it all begins with empathy. Not the soft, naive kind, but the sharpened version. Tactical empathy. The kind that understands how others feel, not to soothe them, but to position them, to guide them, to disarm them. You can't persuade someone you don't understand, but once you do, you own the frame. You steer the narrative. You become the unseen hand behind decisions, opinions, and even desires. That's not manipulation, it's dominance cloaked in emotional fluency. Control doesn't come from shutting down your emotions. It comes from refining them, sharpening your awareness until you can stand in the fire without blinking. People think the emotionally intelligent are soft. They couldn't be more wrong. The emotionally intelligent are ice beneath the surface, calm under pressure, clear under chaos. They don't collapse when the stakes are high. They rise because they've rehearsed their breakdowns in private. They've felt every storm, dissected every fear, and rebuilt their emotional core in silence. So when others fall apart, they remain still, grounded, dangerous. That's the edge you get when you do the internal work. You want real power? Learn to make others feel seen, heard, understood, while staying 3 steps ahead. That's what emotional intelligence gives you, the ability to enter someone's mind through their heart. And once you're in, you don't need to push. They'll follow, not because you forced them, but because they felt you. That's leadership in its rawest form. That's persuasion without pressure. That's control without conflict. The world doesn't need another loud voice. It needs a silent force. Someone who can walk into any room and shift the dynamic without saying a word. That's who you become when you master this weapon. But beware, this power demands discipline. The moment you stop observing yourself, you become reactive again. You lose the edge. You get pulled back into the emotional chaos you worked so hard to escape. Emotional intelligence isn't a switch, it's a system, a way of living. It demands awareness daily, reflection constantly. You must study your own emotional cues like an opponent. You must question every reaction, every fear, every insecurity, not to shame them, but to strip them of control. Because the moment you stop doing that, you're no longer the puppet master, you're the puppet again. So the choice is yours. Stay emotionally blind. Let the world dictate how you feel, how you act, how you live, or sharpen your vision. Learn the language of emotions so fluently that you can decode every conversation, every conflict, every lie. Not to destroy others, but to protect your mind, command your life, and walk through chaos like it's a game you've already mastered. Emotional intelligence isn't soft, it's surgical. It's ruthless in its clarity. It's the final advantage. Learn it and you'll never be controlled again. Ignore it and you'll never understand why you keep losing the war inside your own head.